They were all around me. I just remember being there, like, trying to shelter my head, and they were just kicking me all over.
5 years ago, Jack Jacobs was attacked in the heart of Melbourne.
You kind of hope that if it is the end, that it happens quick. One final kick and it'll be over type thing. You just, yeah.
How did your life change after that night?
It was dark. It was definitely dark. I didn't want people to find out. I definitely became less social.
Less trusting?
Definitely less trusting. It is so hard to trust someone when you meet them, always looking over your shoulder.
Hate crimes like the one Jack experienced are on the rise, with police across the country reporting a sharp increase in violent attacks connected to the gay dating app Grindr. Offenders use fake profiles to lure victims into public places, where they attack, rob, or even kidnap them, with some filming the assaults and sharing it online. 35 people have been arrested over the past year in Victoria alone, with offenders as young as 13. In 2020, Canberra man Peter Keeley fell victim to one of these attacks. He was bound, gagged, tortured, and left to die. His body was found in the bushlands of regional New South Wales.
Talk to me about what happened a few years ago. What were you hoping that night was going to be?
I'd just gone through a breakup, so I was hoping to go out, have some fun, meet some people. Decided to open up Grindr. I started talking to someone. We agreed that we would go get some food. I made the mistake of agreeing. When I got there, he wasn't happy to see me. It was just this cold, glassy look. I immediately saw people in my peripherals, and I just felt something was so off, like immediately cold chills. And the moment
You're right, take your time.
they all kind of got up and I just tried to bolt. I remember them getting me to the ground and they were all just kicking me repeatedly all over. I distinctively remember every time they kicked me in the head, everything went white. Can't remember how, but I got away from them. I ran across the road and it's really gory, but I went to dial 000 on my phone, but it was covered in blood, so I had to physically peel the screen protector off. And luckily while I was doing that, a girl or young lady came up and was like, "What happened? Are you okay?" And she sat with me until the police and the ambulance came.
Do you remember the woman who sat with you?
Not really well, no, and I regret that. I should have got her details at the time because it would have been nice to thank her, because she was there at my probably darkest point ever. I'd never been so alone and afraid.
Jack was rushed to Melbourne's Alfred Hospital. He suffered significant facial, wrist and knee injuries.
So you were kicked so hard that they tore your ACL?
Yeah. They think that my knee went backwards on itself. Yeah.
It's an injury that still pains him 5 years later. While he can't be certain, Jack thinks as many as 8 people were involved in his attack, all of them teenagers.
They didn't steal anything either, which is probably makes the whole thing a lot more painful. If they stole my watch, my wallet, I could compute why someone would do that. But this was purely an act of hate.
Were you worried that you might see them on the app again?
Several months later, once I did finally re-download the app, I was getting messages from someone and they were very keen to meet up, and I was like, no, that something did not feel right. And then all of a sudden they were like, "You deserved what you got, faggot." And it had to be them or someone that knew. They were still on there, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're not still doing it. I'm just waiting for that date where I see them, because it's terrifying.
Most major dating apps like Tinder, Bumble, Hinge and Scruff use facial recognition technology to verify users' identities. We reached out to Grindr to ask why it refuses to implement these security measures, but they wouldn't provide us with a statement. Jack's attackers were never caught. He said at the time he was too embarrassed to pursue the matter with police.
Even afterwards, the whole shame spiral about the whole thing was immense. And sometimes I just wish I was straight. Life would have been easier. I wouldn't have to explain things to people, have the awkward conversations, worry about what I'm wearing, who's going to judge me, or what colleagues say behind your back.
Jack says, until now, he's told very few people about what happened that night.
still ashamed of the whole thing. Like, I've told my close friends, but there's even, like, my family, my grandmother, she doesn't know. She knew I was assaulted, same with my mother. They don't know the full story. Suppose they will now, but yeah.
How do you even begin to open up again and to unguard yourself?
I don't think you ever do fully unguard. I think that innocence was lost that night. But you can't stop and dwell on it, because the moment you do, they win. And I think that took me a long time to realise, and still realising, that, you know, talking about it gives me the power back. It should never happen, but people are not alone. They just need to find their voice, even if it's a quiet one.
Oof. That's what they rely on, right? That people feel too ashamed to speak out. So for Jack to share his story in that way and hopefully stop it from happening again, that's real courage there.
Yeah, and it shows that no matter how quiet the voice, it can be yelled, really. And Jack was so brave to share his story with us. We did reach out as well to Victoria Police about Jack's attack. They urge anyone who's experienced an attack like this to report it to the police. You can read their full statement as well as the government statement on our website. And if this story has raised any issues for you, of course, help is always available. You can call Lifeline on 13 11 14. And just to note that story was put together by Matt Bender.